Hi, how's everybody doing today? This is Rich here on behalf of Rich TV Live with our very special guest. It's Kiran Sidhu, CEO of Halo Labs. How you doing today, Kiran?
I'm doing well, Rich.
Well,
Thanks for asking.
thank you for joining us. We haven't had much to talk about lately because you've been busy, I've been busy, so we just haven't crossed paths. What's happening with Halo Labs since the last time we talked?
Well, I would say that in Q4 and Q1, given in, Q4 we had that whole vape crisis hit, and then come Q1 we had COVID hit. There's been a lot going on. And what we've done over that period, as I said, we focused a lot more on our balance sheet. But now, as we're ending Q2, we've been focusing a lot more on, rebuilding what I call our business and growing sales and revenue, which is what we say in our business as releasing working capital into the business in order to generate revenue and profits. And so, as Philip, our CFO, said during our earnings call last week, the one thing we did, which was really critical, is that we've sort of gone through that trough of low revenues and low profits. And now we're starting to see an uptick in our revenues and our profits.
Great.
California is growing for us. We're adding edibles there. Oregon has been growing for us. We've been adding infused pre-rolls. We're building out our own kitchen now, and we're adding more SKUs of edibles as well. With COVID around, it seems that edibles are getting to be super hot, especially in Oregon and California. And so we're doing a lot of, a lot of work around that area as well.
Now, I saw a press release that came out last week saying Halo Lab announced edibles expansion in California and Oregon. Can you just get into that a little bit more?
What was that? I broke up for a second.
Yeah,
Sorry.
there was a press release on June 20th stating Halo Labs announces edibles expansion in California and Oregon.
Yes. So what we've decided to do is, in Oregon, I think we're in the top 10 according to BDS in edibles, but
Wow.
we only maintain two sets of products: an elixir set of products, little shots, and a one-piece gummy. So now we're expanding to a 10-piece gummy, a 20-piece gummy. We're starting to deliver, vegan options, gluten-free options, looking at low hypoglycemic options as well for diabetics, and really sort of building on that. And in order to do that, what we have is we have our kitchen we're building out a kitchen in our Medford facility in Oregon. And then we also have a kitchen in our Ukiah facility upstairs at MDT. And we're again working with Outer Galactic Chocolate or Jeff Stewart in order to build all these lines. So now we have our own kitchens, we make our own oil. So we're basically going to be end to end on edibles as well.
Wow. Congratulations. That's amazing.
Yeah.
You guys are just evolving. Every time I look, you guys have lots of news and you're constantly evolving. And I see here that you also had a press release on June 11th about the East Evans Creek Farm Update Flower Pre-Roll and Clone Oregon Business Overview. Anything
Correct.
within that press release you'd like to touch base on?
Well, yeah, we think there's a large business actually in clones. Since we have 6 acres of farms and we have our own breeding facilities within those farms, what we've decided to do now is sell clones to dispensaries who would sell them to end users who plant the clones and use them for their own plants. And we think that business can grow, to a couple $100,000 a month in Oregon in and of itself. Also, we have the licensing deals with both Turpogs and OGDNA. So we're actually growing their strains now on our farm.
Wow.
And to give you an idea, last year we planted 4,000 plants in total across 6 acres. This year we're planting 8,000 plants across our 6 acres.
Wow.
We've also been aggressively out there tendering offers for other farms. There's a big opportunity in Oregon. I mean, Oregon, a lot of people don't understand, but Oregon is actually one-third the size of California and is growing at 40% year over year, the marijuana market in Oregon. That's the recreational market, the legal market. And so Oregon has become, we think Oregon has a lot of potential. I think we're at about 1.5 million in sales a month in Oregon right now. We think that through some strategic acquisitions, as well as organic growth, I mean, our internal target will be to grow that to between 2.5 to 3 million by the end of the year, and that's a monthly run rate. California, we're ripping right now. I mean, we started from a zero base with MDT when we acquired it in Q1, and we built up a dispensary sales business now that's been significantly increasing every month. We started with 2 salespeople in California in Q1. Now we're up to 6, I think 6 salespeople in California. And, California sales are starting to grow for us as well.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, we were talking earlier, and I was saying that we're kind of going into the summer. We're heading into July and August, which, a lot of people say in May, sell and go away, right?
Right.
So now we're going into June, and we're almost done June. We're going to go into July and August. And a lot of people have been predicting, including myself, that this Q2 earnings reports are going to be pretty horrific because of the coronavirus. And the weird thing is the market has continuously been going up, despite the fact that we're in this market, in a market melt up, despite the fact we're in a coronavirus pandemic, really. Rioting, racial tension in America, a lot of weird stuff going on, right? And obviously there's a massive election coming right around the corner. Like, there's a lot of uncertainty in America right now, like lots, right? But despite that, when we talked about it, you're like, no, we're busy, Rich. You're like, we're busy, we're doing well.
I think we'll continue to see a positive trajectory in Q2 for us. What's ironic is the Americas for us. So Nevada, we already consciously had pulled back on in Q4, but Nevada was hit really, really hard, the dispensary business with COVID.
Oh, no.
But California shrunk a little bit, but a lot of people think that has to do with diversion into the black market. However, for us, California is growing. It's our fastest growing market. And Oregon, as we stated, as per BDS data, is up 40% year over year. So those markets are good. Where we're seeing a little bit of drag is in the international markets. As you said, COVID is rampant in the U.S. because the U.S. loosened restrictions a little too soon, maybe. But in Europe, they just allowed flights, I think, today. So they just released planes today. And so the whole marijuana trade was sort of in limbo in Europe to Africa, what have you. And that's just coming back. So where we've seen sort of setbacks in our business planning is in Africa and in Europe as a result of COVID lockdowns, which has been effective in curtailing the virus. Whereas in America, we've been seeing real growth in the marijuana markets, with the exception of Nevada.
What do you think is the solution right now in America? Because it looks as though the numbers in the COVID-19 keep getting worse. And if that's the case, then there's a very good likelihood that we could have a second wave. And then, is that going to lead to another lockdown?
When I turn on my TV and I see the hockey sticks in California, in Florida, in Arizona, in Texas,
it's crazy.
It is absolutely crazy. What's going on. And this is something that's going to be with us for a while. When you speak to experts, I'm no expert. A vaccine is still a ways off. And all what we're doing now is our facilities, are under what's known as occupational safety and health agency, which is a U.S. federal agency. And what we've done now is mandated masks in all of our facilities. We practice social distancing. You know, like everyone in this game, given how many people we have working for us, we've had incidents of COVID, right? We've managed through it. So far, it hasn't disrupted our business. We qualify everything we say in all our press releases talking about it. But COVID so far for us as a business is it's strange, but it's been sort of, at least in California and in Oregon, our businesses continued to grow. But Nevada definitely, as I said, and Africa and the UK, definitely we've seen grinding stops. I mean, just, we're trying to get, we have a lot of deals on our table, right? So we have our flagship dispensary in California, in North Hollywood. I hope that'll close this week. We're just
Great.
waiting for exchange approval right now. We have our deal with Buffalo. Because of the COVID lockdowns, our shareholder lists went stale. So the Central Bank of Lesotho, through our bank, Nedbank, requested an updated shareholders list, which we provided to Louisa and the team today. So hopefully we'll reach closure on that over the next week or two. And CanMart, we have filed, we got another extension on that. But what was really interesting there was that even the lawyers on the CanMart deal were not working because they were all locked down. So, you have these sorts of challenges that you have to work through, and there are delays. But, business seems to carry on. It's carrying on for us. But yes, there have been some impacts, but I think overall our numbers are improving.
Good for you. Now, earlier this year, we saw a little bit of an uptick in the cannabis stocks, and there looked like
Right.
it was going to finally come back. And then it just stopped again.
Right.
It's been so weird. I mean, in the past, we've seen these huge explosions of really just money rolling into the sector, right?
Right.
And it seems as though every time we have that again, it just doesn't sustain itself anymore. It's like it's a little bump, maybe a week, and then it just dies again.
Right.
What do you attribute that to in the cannabis sector right now? It just seems like it just can't sustain any real momentum. Whereas previously in the past, I mean, 2017, huge explosion in cannabis. 2018, huge explosion in cannabis. Even 2019, last year, before it crashed, there was a
Right.
massive run. And here in 2020, we really haven't had, we've had a little bit of an uptick, and then we've had a little bit of a retraction. It's just kind of staying stable right now. Do you think that this is just maybe an anticipation of an election? Do you think this is a combination of what I talked about? People maybe just selling in May and going away. What do you attribute that to right now?
Well, you know, I was looking at just looking at things on a macro basis. The one thing about cannabis, which people don't understand, is cannabis is an agrarian manufacturing business. It is working capital intensive. So that for every new dollar of sales, I need to have at least $3 to $5 of fresh capital behind me to initiate that sale. And
Wow.
that's even more prevalent in states like Florida, which are fully integrated seed to sale. In California and in Oregon, we are in certain parts of the ecosystem, and in Lesotho, we're in a certain part of the ecosystem, which is cultivation. But it's a very capital intensive business. And if cannabis cannot raise money, cannabis businesses will die. It's critical for us as cannabis businesses to continue to raise money to grow. We were fortunate in the sense that we had a lot of working capital on our balance sheet. Our current assets exceeded our current liabilities. So, to the extent we could unlock our working capital, we used it to grow our sales. But now, we have a working capital line that we'll probably end up tapping into now, and we need to start, like all other cannabis businesses, we need to start growing and capturing share. And to do that requires working capital. And if you don't have the working capital, you're not going to get share no matter how good you are.
How's everything coming along with those dispensaries that you're working with in Canada? I know last time we talked, you said you were close to.
That we just put the applications into the AGLC about 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. Everything again was delayed. The AGLC's on the Alberta Gaming and Liquor Commission is on a little bit of a, how do I put it, skeleton staff.
Hiatus.
And those are, and so we have those in. Those dispensaries are doing quite well.
Nice.
I would say kudos to Raj and the High Tide guys. I mean, they are very good managers, and those dispensaries we're looking at, which don't fit strategically into their plans, but fit into ours. And what that enables us to do now is, once we have the dispensaries, besides the positive cash flow, besides the revenue from those dispensaries, it allows us to list our products in Canada. And it also aligns us with High Tide when we list the products to actually hopefully sell our products. And I think they're one of the 3 or 4 largest, chains in Canada. So it was actually, in my mind, a smart move, as opposed to saying, okay, I'm going to be an LP and work it from the back to the front. We're working it from the front to the back, using the dispensaries and our products. And what's interesting is that there's a lot of LP capacity that we can leverage in Canada to make our products. Canada is not lacking for edibles kitchens, for vape cartridge fillings, for oil, for what have you. There seems to be a lot of LPs, be it large LPs or be it tolling LPs like MetaPharm or Valens. But there seems to be a lot of opportunity to do private labeling there, which was a break with our tradition of making everything ourselves end to end. But we think that there's a lot of opportunity, and we think that in Canada, the one space that is very lucrative, or is the most lucrative, is the retail space or the dispensary space.
Do you have any plans to expand into any other states in America or any other places right now? Or are you just happy with where you're at?
I think we're happy with where we're at. If we can sort of grow, let's say let's call it, I look at everything monthly. If we can grow from this monthly, run rate of say 2 to 2 say we're between 2 to 2.2 million a month, by Q4 to 4 to 5 million a month, in the states that we currently are at. I mean, that for me is manageable growth, and that is growth where we can actually sustain the working capital to fuel that growth. And so to go into other states right now, I think I don't think it's a good, how do I put it? I think it could be an overextension of the business and could cause some liquidity issues within the business right now. I think we're well sort of placed, and our balance sheet is well capitalized in order to serve the markets that we're currently in. So I don't see us going into Michigan. I don't see us going into Arizona. But I do see us doing some consolidation work in Oregon and in California. And I think the key to some of that will be a mix of equity and debt. And the critical thing is that you want to mix it a little bit so that the debt is tied to the specific acquisition in an LBO style financing, or a leverage buyout style financing, so that if something goes wrong with the asset, only that asset's at risk and the parent isn't at risk.
And how's the company's balance sheet right now as it stands?
Excuse me. It's still very strong.
Good.
Our balance sheet is still to the good. I'd say $8 to $10 million.
Very good.
US. And no, we're a small little engine that could. We're I myself bought. I think I bought $50,000 Canadian of stock the minute I could after we published Q1 results. I think Andreas bought $25,000 worth of stock at 11 cents. So, we obviously sort of put our money where our mouth is, and, have stepped up. We take our compensation in shares. So we're very, very positive about the company in the future.
Very good. And right now we're just heading into July. Um, Anything else you want to talk to anyone that's watching about to look out for? Anything that they should be watching regarding Halo Labs at this point in time?
Well, you're going to start to see that, CanMart, Buffalo, the NoHo dispensary. Some of these deals are, we're now as we're coming out of this sort of COVID phase one, these deals are gonna start to close, and we're looking at doing some, prudent consolidation in Oregon and trying to use debt to the extent we can to do it.
Very good. And what do you think, like, with this election coming right now and everything that's going on in America right now, like, are things starting to calm down? Like,
I wouldn't say they're calming down. I mean, every day there seems to be
protest, some type of
some,
protest?
I just can't remember a time where I've seen so many crazy headlines day after day. Like just this weekend, there was like headlines of, Russian agents paying the Taliban to, kill U.S. troops. So I just couldn't, I couldn't believe that myself. The news is, I mean, the news flow is very, very, it's just very, very,
Dark.
it's
It's
dark.
dark.
Yeah,
It's
it's
dark.
dark. Yeah,
I remember
it's
like a
dark.
couple weeks ago. I mean, I haven't seen it recently, but when the riots started happening, I was turning
Right.
on the TV and all of LA was burning, and I'm
That's right.
like, what is this even happening? And then like the next day, it's like everything's normal, and you're like, so as a
But a
Canadian,
lot
I
of
don't see what's
dispensaries,
going on, right?
got hit. I mean,
Yeah, I
a lot
saw that. I saw.
of,
Was it
you know,
MedMen?
like,
MedMen
yeah,
got hit.
and Harborside, a lot of them got really hit. It was really bad.
Now those
Um,
businesses have insurance, right? Typically.
I hope so, but I don't. There's always this carve out with insurance called, force majeure or acts of God, or I don't know if like rioting is covered. I don't know. If it's it may be, may not be. It depends on people's insurance policies. Our facilities have been safe. We haven't had any issues at any of our facilities. Knock on wood. But yeah, I would say that in certain instances it's covered. It depends on the people's insurance policy.
Wow. All right. Is there anything else you want to touch base about, or anything else you want to talk about while we're
No,
live?
no, no. As I said, we ourselves bought stock at 11 cents. We're, Andreas and I, and we're, very optimistic about the future, and we're working really hard to close up everything that we have on our plate.
I have a question here, real quickly. It says, "Can Kiran give us 3 reasons why he thinks people should invest in Halo Labs?"
It's undervalued as a multiple of revenue. We have a number two position in the state of Oregon, and if there's federal legalization, Oregon is the best state in the United States from which to launch a federally legal business due to taxes, environment, labor, and just culturally marijuana and how it fits. And the third reason is that we actually have preserved our balance sheet and we do have the liquidity to see us through.
That's great. Well, thank you so much, Kiran, for all your time today. Keep up all the great work. Let's do this again soon. If you have any other big news or breaking news or anything you want to talk about, please let us know. We'll get you
I
back
will.
on the show. And for anyone that's watching, if you guys have any questions, concerns, feel free to reach me, and I can forward those questions to Kiran as well. Thank you so much, Kiran. Have a great day and keep up all the great work.
Thanks, Rich. Take care.
Thank you for watching, everybody.